Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Stadium Journey podcast, and thanks for joining us tonight. Check out the website, stadiumjourney.com. We are the world leader in sports travel information. We have reviews of over 2,500 stadiums from all around the world. You can follow us on social media if you're so inclined. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Threads. You can find us at Stadium Journey. We're pretty consistent that way. We got the branding down. And, like, share, follow, all that good stuff. To find other episodes of the Stadium Journey podcast, because we've done one or two over the years, just pick up your cell phone, type in HIAC Talk Radio Network, wherever you look for your favorite podcast, and we'll be there. If you would rather view a video simulcast of the podcast, go to Stadium Journey's YouTube channel, and you'll find all of the old episodes there. And if you want to be part of our live studio audience, join us every other Monday night now. We're going to start recording on Monday nights. I don't know if we're doing 7 or 7:30 or 8, though, but, Monday nights at Dan Law.
I didn't know either. I was confused.
Me too. Anyway, you can find us at danlaw.tv. And the gang is all here tonight. That's why we're on Mondays. You got Dave Cotney here. Follow him at ProFan9. Mark Viquez is on the internet at Ballpark Hunter. The above average comedian, Dan Colachico, is here, front running with the Eagles. Just kidding, Dan.
Yeah, with the Kelly Green jersey.
That eagle right there is as old as I am. Behind me, you sons of...
You got the Kelly Green. I respect that. I like that one.
I also have a regular green.
And anyway, follow Dan at DanLaw83. And I'm Paul Baker. You can follow me at PuckmanRI. Am I sporting the Patriots colors? No, right now.
Why would you?
Zap.
Hey, you know what?
Roger and Zap.
You know, I came of age in the 70s and 80s when a 5-win season was outstanding for the Patriots. So this is just like nostalgia for me.
How the other half lives now.
Exactly. Yeah. We had a good run.
It was all right.
Probably still beat the Jets last week of the season.
Hey, Patriots Jets tickets, man, they are going way down in price. They look like I checked out stuff up. They were like $40. So I may go to a Patriots game.
There you go.
All right.
I want to go to a Patriots game now if they're $40.
On down. On down. I'll put you up in the man cave.
You'll have plenty of room. Oh, that sounds chilly.
Actually, no, we actually have a guest room. Not as fancy as the cabin, but anyway. Oh, all right. So tonight's topic. Hey, you know what? We all work for Stadium Journey, so that makes it pretty obvious that we are all sports fanatics. But let's be honest. Everything in the sporting world is not always peachy keen and sunshine and rainbows. So there are things, in the words of one of my favorite cartoon characters, Peter Griffin, that will grind your gears. So tonight, like Frank Costanza at Festivus, we got issues, and you're all going to hear about them. It's time to air our grievances. It's Unthanksgiving, y'all. So we're going to talk about some things in the sporting world that just kind of make you go. And Dave, you said you wanted to start us off tonight.
Sure. So a number of years ago, way back in the dark ages, hockey games in the NHL, if they were tied at regulation, they would go to overtime. No big deal. Oh, we're getting 2 rants from Dan tonight. Let's go.
I thought you were going to go back further when it was like 60 minutes tied, done, see you later, go home.
See you later, bye. Well, after overtime, then it was tied, done, see you later. Now, I'm not a huge fan of tied, done, see you later. I'll admit that, especially if you go, there is this sense of just incomplete. I went all this, I sat here for 3.5 hours and at the end of the day, nothing changed. Nothing. So
did your team win? No. Did they lose? No.
So then they decided that, we would go to a shootout. Shootouts were exciting, but divisive. So some people love the shootouts. I really found the shootouts exciting, but many were, that's not the way to end a hockey game. So then they would go to 4-on-4 for the overtime before the shootout. Fine, no problem. My issue is where we are now. And that is 3-on-3 for overtime, then the shootout. I love the shootout. I hate 3-on-3 hockey. It is so boring. It is endless cycling in and out. It's like they're just doing figure eights out there. And, in an overtime period, you're looking at each team maybe getting 2 possessions, and that's it. What was supposed to be exciting is now not exciting.
The coaches have figured out how to ruin 3-on-3.
Oh, this constant cycling, it is so bad. 4-on-4 is much better. It's much more exciting. If I could change or compare 3-on-3 hockey to something else, like it would be like football with 10 guys on one side and 4 guys on the other. Or like 10 guys on offense, 4 guys on defense. Like it just, there's too much space. When people complain about there's too much clutching and grabbing and then too much in the neutral zone, the left wing lock, those darn New Jersey Devils. And there was lots of talk, well, they need to go to Olympic sized ice. Other than
that'll
just
happen.
the sheer logistics of, these places are not eliminating.
Get rid of your primes.
The most expensive seats in the joint.
Yeah.
Let's get past that. European hockey on Olympic size ice is not exactly the most exciting thing going. There's just too much space.
Right.
And you get all that space, 3 guys in, it's like figures.
What were the best rinks to play in back in the day? The Odd in Buffalo and the Boston Garden. Why? Because they were even smaller. They weren't even regulation ice.
Yeah. So the first thing I am unthankful for is 3-on-3 overtime hockey. I mean, sometimes it happens, you get penalties or whatever, and that's the way it is, and so be it. But 3-on-3, it's not real hockey. People, that's not a way to end a hockey game. Like 3-on-3 hockey is not hockey. So I'm sorry.
Dave, did you know that they are proposing a rule change next year that will somewhat end that cycling, where you can't, once you're in the zone, you can't cross back out of the zone?
I heard that the other day, and I'm trying to think about how much better it's really going to be. I don't know. 3-on-3 hockey eliminates any defensive, like there's no checking, right? When has there ever been a body check in 3-on-3 hockey? Never. So I have heard that. I'm totally skeptical. I'd rather see 4-on-4 again with the shootout. Say what you will, and there's always the argument about how, well, if you have a normal game is worth 2 points, but if it goes into overtime, it's now worth 3 points because one team's getting 2 points, the other team's getting 1 point.
3-point games, yes, sir.
It's
please,
like, if you need to manipulate it so that a win in regulation is really worth that much more, then do that. That's fine. I'm cool with that. But we got to get rid of the 3-on-3. It's just so ugly.
I like a 3-on-3 when they are truly going end to end and it's back and forth. But yeah, when it's the endless cycling, and I hate that coaches have figured out a way to ruin and take the excitement out of that.
Oh, the Islanders Flyers game 2 days ago was just because they're doing the Lamoureux hockey stuff now. I'm sorry, Mark. Jesus.
If he could he's been trying to win something else for 20 years. So
you're gonna win it like that.
We'll see what happens.
Oh my God. I despise the dump and chase and the cycling so much. So I can't even really disagree with Dave, but I'm opposite on that one. I don't mind the 3-on-3. I absolutely think it is a travesty that you will play the hour and 5 minutes sometimes of a game and then decide skills competition. That's how we're going to end this. I'm not going to keep going on and on about it. I was just putting my 2 cents in because I've said that for years since they've implemented it, and it's not going to change. I hate that. I hate doing that to the goalies.
Well, it's at least in hockey, the goalies are actually have a higher percentage than the shooters do. The goalies actually do better than the shooters in general.
Like 2/3, right?
Yeah,
2/3 save percentage.
And I understand the lack of excitement to watch a shootout on television. But let me tell you, if you're there in person, live with a good crowd, ooh, it's exciting. It's exciting.
Hate it. I'm with Dan on this one. Hate it. I hate it as a PA announcer too.
Yeah, because you got to work hard on that one. Yeah. Yeah, you got to work on that one.
And they don't tell me who it is. Like, who is that? Who is that? And when I was doing women's hockey and they had the long ponytails and you couldn't see what number it was, forget it. All right. All right. Do we want to segue into the next hockey gripe?
There's 3. Can I kind of piggyback onto
do it,
Dave for a second without crushing his bones? I'm unthankful for Gary Bettman and the owners of the NHL. How do I say this lightly? I'll say it indirectly without directly referencing how terrible it is. The Blackhawks. A little slap on the wrist for covering up something very horrible. A second player has come forward. It's being investigated. And Trouba only gets a $58,000 fine for taking a swing at someone's face. The NHL is a joke league. And it's really hard to enjoy. Every year, it gets harder and harder to enjoy. There, I've said my piece. I hate you. I hate you. And I know
Ottawa lost their first-round pick for something they did.
And for sports betting, when it's plastered in your face all day, you're around it. If you're a player, there's advertisements everywhere for sports betting. When you're watching on TV, there's sports betting just shoved in your face with the commercials and on the analysis between periods. But how dare you? I understand it's a rule to gamble when you're part of the team, but the hypocrisy in this world right now of the NHL, it's the weirdest. Can you tell an organization to read the room?
Like we said last week, what was it? They're reading a different room than you and I are in.
Yeah, they're in the room of the owners going, yes, that's what I want you to do.
Well, I don't necessarily disagree. I mean, to say that I'm unthankful for Gary Bettman and the owners, I think it's just way too broad. Read the room. Hockey viewership is higher than it's ever been.
Right.
Hockey attendance is higher than it's ever been.
But that league doesn't survive without the TV.
No, it doesn't.
So, that's not good enough an excuse to allow rape to go unpunished, to punish a betting or a gambling person more than sexual assault. It's not a good enough argument for me to just be like, no, that's fair. Very good. That's just me.
But I don't feel that's unique to the NHL.
But that's the sport I care about the most. I really don't care what they do in the NFL. If we get into the NFL, perhaps smoking pot isn't so bad, and you should punish people for hitting their spouses and such. Just an idea.
Well, look at the owner of the Colts. He came out the other day and said he was charged and pulled over because he was a billionaire.
Yeah. Fair enough. No, but I just
money profiling.
Yeah,
money profiling.
That's totally a first.
I can't get past that little bump in the road that is the Blackhawks. It's just, and I think what upsets me more, Maybe I'm unthankful for the fandom of hockey for not demanding more. I don't know. Not a pun, not a nasty pun intended, but that's left a bad taste in my mouth. And it's when you have that's just happened and still going on, and you do these other things that it's like your first kid getting punished for everything and your brother or sister not getting any discipline at all.
As an oldest child, I can endorse that statement.
As the oldest child, I can endorse that statement. That's why I said it. Somebody back me up. Else back me up on that. Somebody.
I'm in the. I agree with you 100%, Dan.
What's up, Javi? I just. It shouldn't be. That shouldn't be allowed. You know. Did anybody see the Truba thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Then Tread Frederick's baseball swing, two-hander right across the side of the head.
We'll take some
fine.
money. We'll take some money, please. What?
Maximum allowable under the CBA.
Listen, they're just puppets for the owners, and the owners control the money. And as Dave said, because everything is up, they're reading the wrong room. You may take it from here, boss.
All right. Hey, Mark, you want to chime in now?
Chime in, pet peeves of mine.
Yeah.
There's a few things. I guess I'll start with just like food prices. I was looking at my visit to Seattle, and I noticed that one of the beers was $16.49. It was a Hop Valley IPA. But looking back at some of the pictures, there was a Trapo Tico hard seltzer that was $17.49. Why don't you just make it an even $20 at this point? I mean,
don't suggest that. It'll happen.
Remember when you used to say,
"It will happen," and I will be drinking
for a beer. I ain't paying that.
Yeah. I remember 20 years ago in Cincinnati, it was like $6 for a Bud Light or Coors Light, whatever they were drinking. And my buddy Brian and Todd were just, mowing them down. The thing that bothers me and I know it's Seattle, I know things are ridiculously pricey out there compared to my trip to Seattle and Detroit and Windsor. Whoa, you can live like a king out of those cities. But I just I'm shocked how people are like, oh yeah, $16.50 for a beer. Yeah, I'll take one.
Mark, when I used to work in concessions for the Patriots, and that's back when like the giant beers were maybe $11.
Yeah.
Maybe 10. And people would have stacks of empties.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you got $200 worth of empty cups in your hand.
I mean,
and then of course I'd say no more for you.
This is why I'd rather just sit home, buy a case of beer. Even if you buy a pricey beer, $40. I don't know if you're going to do that, but let's just say you go cheap, buy a case for $20 US, and just watch the game. It's insane to drink, to spend $30 on two beers, $32, and then I don't know if people tip. That's just why does food have to be so freaking much? So much parking, so much.
Yeah, I was going to tie that into
beer.
Parking. Yeah,
and there are places, and Seattle is another example. Atlanta, they have value meals. If you want to buy
let's not talk about Atlanta, please.
All right, if you want to buy a High Life beer for Miller, I think it was $5 at the Mariners game this summer. So, but that's cheap, lousy beer, made with who the hell knows what they put in there compared to like a nice microbrew beer with natural ingredients, following the German purity law. I just want a beer. If you want to charge me a little bit more, fine, I'll suck it up. But $16.49 is insane, and all this wonderful food you see there, that's just as high. But people put up with it. My wife's like, live a little, who cares? I don't know. I just, it's just me. I'm not there with my kid or kids. A buddy of mine, Zach Beeson, who reads Stadium Journey all the time because he travels. He's like, yeah, try traveling with 3 kids. They
Huh.
want ice cream. They want soda. They want pretzels. I always look for like $1 hot dog night. To me, that's like the best night to take the kids to a game. So
Huh.
they're not going to say no. They're not going to say, Dad, well, what do you mean? We want a $5 Coca-Cola. We want a $6 hot dog. We want 2 $6 hot dogs.
Yeah, well, I want you to go home to your mother.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Dave, I don't know about your kids, but my kids learned at a very early age the way to sneak in snacks to any kind of game we ever went to.
Oh, yeah. Sneak in snacks, or my dad
Up
would
the
have us
butt?
eat before the game.
No.
Oh,
A big thing of the 4 Reese's peanut butter cups right up your sleeve. Whoop.
oh,
All
we
set.
we never got into
It's much
sneaking
cleaner.
in too much food, but
Tastier too.
I mean, that's how we like. That's why we did so much like university sports, right? So,
Yep.
yeah, like it's all cheaper. And I mean, let's
Yeah.
be honest. The answer is really simple. How do we get beer that's not $16? We don't
Stop drinking
buy
it.
it.
Yeah.
yeah.
As
I
long as
can't.
people keep paying it, they're gonna
Yeah, they
charge it.
keep buying it. You're right.
And you know
Hey.
what, Mark? You were talking about the major league. Sorry, Dan. I'll be quick here. The price creep is starting to move down. Like even like minor league sports are getting expensive now. Minor league baseball used to be like the bastion of affordability. Can you get into a minor league ballpark for under $20 now or under $15 now? Not very often.
Yeah, you could buy a ticket, but if you're looking to pay to park, if you're looking to get something to eat or drink, it's not going to be. Yeah, it's going to be over $20.
Hmm.
Like an Indians game, I think the cheapest ticket for me, 12 lawn seating, I think it's 12. That's AAA
To sit in the grass.
to sit in the grass. Now, here's the thing: you could bring like a what do you call the picnic
Cool.
basket.
Cool.
Man, I don't know.
A picnic basket.
No,
Hey,
but I was
boo-boo.
just thinking the same thing.
A cooler. You can bring a cooler in with food. No beer though, or Pepsi, or
Just
Coke
watch out for the
products.
Ranger.
And your kids can eat whatever you bring in, and then maybe you go grab a couple cocktails or some beer, which I
What'd
think
you call me?
like $8-9 for a beer at an Indians game. When you go to AA, single A, a little bit lower. I know Round Rock, Texas had some high prices. It was beer night, and I paid $6 for a beer on special. Oh yeah, that's $5 off. Like this is $11. Budweiser's version, the Shinerbach, is $11 on a normal night. Yeah, so the prices are getting high, and some minor league ballparks are outside major cities. Austin's getting pricey. You wouldn't believe it, but that's an expensive city these days to go out to eat. So I guess it kind of reflects where you are at times. But
Well,
I think
you're like me. I might have 1 or 2 beers at an arena or a ballpark in a year.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
Like,
those
I hardly
prices keep
ever-
me from doing that.
Yep,
So
don't
maybe
even
that's
do
a
it.
good thing.
If I go to 15 games, I might have 2 or 3 where I get food, depending on the situation. I mean,
Yeah,
if we're
no, me
really
too, yeah.
traveling, then I probably will. But
Yeah.
like the regular stuff, I hardly ever get food at the Rangers or, at stuff I would normally go
Yeah.
to, or stuff that's around. Like we were just in Brantford yesterday. We didn't buy any food there. I didn't buy any food there.
Yeah. No. Oh yeah.
We,
with
we
those
sneak, we
prices.
sneak our snacks in every game.
Yeah. Okay.
I cannot tell you the last
You
time
better
I
get
bought.
Dan, you better put the scramble vision on Paul's face there so he can keep doing it, and we're
I
not
know.
tipping off the fuzz.
Yeah, it's like 90 degrees. Paul's
I know
got
every
this
usher
jacket on.
in the greater southern New England state, so I'm fine.
I can't remember the last time I bought a food or drink at a game, at a sporting event.
Yeah, no, I normally don't, but it depends who you go with. I
It's
have
been
some buddies
years.
that if you don't
Yeah.
buy a beer, they give you this dirty look. Come on, buy a beer. What's the matter
Yeah.
with you? And
Give it to me for free.
or I go with my wife and she wants to have a wine slushy or a glass of wine or some martini or some crazy concoction they come up with. And then she gives you a look. Come on, drink with me. I don't like baseball. So, you get
That's
suckered.
okay. I don't like our marriage. Shut up.
No, well, don't let
And
her
that's how,
say
ladies
that.
and gentlemen, that's how Mark ends up on the field.
Yeah.
Is
That's
that
why I
it?
travel alone. That's why I travel alone. Like Sarnia, they make their own beer. I think that was $9, which to an American was affordable. which is
Yeah,
like
that's like what, $2.50
$6.
American?
It's like a buck
that
380.
exchange rate was awesome. I forgot how that's like back in the 90s. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was clutch when I went up there last summer. Remember Thirsty Thursdays?
I do like Thirsty Thursdays, especially in like single A rookie league. Well, it used to be rookie league, $3 for like a 32 ounce. That's where it's all about. That's where you enjoy that minor league experience. Like in the Appalachian League on a Thursday night. Ooh,
But
all
that's-
their beers are $3. And then if you want to get something smaller, that's $2. And it's micro and macro. So those are the places I love.
And think about souvenirs, because with the Bruins rolling out their 100th to make it personal, with their rolling out their 100th anniversary stuff, they got some cool jerseys. I'm like, oh yeah, I'd love to get one of these 100th anniversary jerseys. Sure, $300.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not just the food. It's like you said, Mark, parking, tickets, drinking, souvenirs, everything.
Service fees. God
Yeah.
forbid you buy your ticket the day of the game.
Yeah.
That's $2 extra.
But yeah, I never understood that one too. Because if you get it online, you pay a service fee, or if you get it the day of, you pay a service fee, a different service fee. So they get you either way.
They do.
They call it a convenience fee, but it ain't very convenient, is it? Oh,
Just that line alone, a convenience fee, what I'm being charged for it being convenient.
yeah.
That makes no sense.
Well, it's like a convenience
I'm being
store.
charged extra money for you guys to have fewer people on staff.
Yeah, they make it easier. They have less people working at your box offices, which are slowly disappearing at some stadiums. We'll get to that later, though.
Maybe we may run out of time pretty quickly in this show. All
Actually,
right.
I like it.
Should we tackle ours, Dan? Because
Yeah.
Dan and I have
You the boss, boss.
All right, we got an Unthanksgiving issue. We found out that we both kind of were let down by the same thing, and I'm talking about the rollout of the new Professional Women's Hockey League. To me,
Go ahead.
to me,
Sorry.
and I'm trying to keep my feelings up because I was an employee of one of the PHF teams.
Yeah, don't make it personal. Okay.
I'm trying very hard. It's not. This is not coming from a personal angle. This is like, all right, one league, all the best players playing together. This is what we have been wanting for years and years.
And I said the exact same thing. I'm bored with you.
But the way they have crushed the existing stuff, the infrastructure that was there, and seemingly just out of spite, and how disorganized and last second and unprofessional everything seems, has just really kind of muted my excitement for this league.
Those jerseys.
But I don't know if you guys are getting this media like dovetailing that is this surge that it's like, this is the greatest thing ever. This is a watershed moment. Finally, these women have their own league. And I was like, they had a league.
They have had leagues. They have had leagues for years and years. This is not something new. I mean, the scope may be bigger, the compensation may be bigger, and a lot of things may be better, but this isn't the first professional women's hockey league. And so for those of our listeners who may not be totally familiar, I can outline it a little bit. So the PWHL, when the goal, there's been two separate women's hockey groups. Basically the Olympians doing their thing, and then there was the PHF doing their thing. So you had some of the best players here, some of the best players here. Didn't really work out for everybody. The goal was always get them all playing in one place, one league. So the PHF got some big name backing, Stan Kasten from the Dodgers, Billie Jean King, some big names, and they bought out the other league. All right, great. We got one league. You had 7 existing markets with teams, with fan bases, with marketing in place, with brands in place, with staff in place, and the PWHL said, "You're all fired. Get the hell out. We're not going to use any of your ideas. We're not going to use your color schemes. We're not going to use your logos. We're not going to use your built-in marketing. We're not going to use your buildings. Not going to use any of it. It's all gone. We're starting from scratch." Okay, your league, your ball, your rules. That's fine. So what did they do? They said, we don't know where we're going to put the teams. And they said, we're going to go from 7 teams to 6. So right away, you knew somebody was losing out. and we're going to put them all in new markets. They said the only ones who they knew Toronto was going to have a team, they knew Montreal was going to have a team, and they knew New York was going to have a team. Everybody else, they made them sweat. And they said, we're going to put you in new markets. So everybody got excited in Detroit, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Washington. Everybody got excited. We could be getting a new team. Where did they put the teams? All the same old cities. Boston, Minnesota, New York, Ottawa. Ottawa was new. Toronto and Montreal. Okay, that's great. New teams, great. Where are they playing? They haven't said yet. What are the team names going to be? They haven't said yet. They did give us a list of really crappy names.
Nice save.
I mean, if the team ends up being named the Boston Wicked, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to root for New York.
I would have to root for Boston just based on that.
Yeah, no logos. And then they put out the jerseys for this year without team names, without team rinks. They are 6 identical jerseys with word mark of the city going diagonal, each a different color. That's gonna. So I mean, almost everything they've done about it has just seemed like it's been done without a plan, without a lot of forethought, and when they could have kind of taken what was already there and improved it, and they kind of just did the opposite. They just kind of destroyed what was there just because it wasn't theirs.
Yeah, I'm almost waiting for the Toronto team to be called the Torontos. Just some head scratching stuff. And we've seen this with some other leagues where they roll out team names and jerseys that look alike, but the color schemes are different. And then they want us to like get excited to buy into this. I saw those jerseys. Lack of imagination.
Oh, here's a really good one, Mark. You'll appreciate this being a Metro New York guy. They were asking people to buy season tickets to all these teams without telling you where these teams are playing.
Yeah. Like,
so you could be living in Jersey, rooting for the New York team. Guess where the rumor is that the New York team is playing? Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Well, so yeah, that'd be great after work on a Monday to Friday.
Exactly.
It's just idiotic things like that. It's like somebody's getting paid to be the PR. Somebody's getting paid to run these leagues. Like Bridgeport, Connecticut, like where I grew up in New Jersey. I don't know. That's about that could take 3 hours with traffic. That could take 2 hours.
To Bridgeport quicker than you can.
Yeah. To me, that's Connecticut. Call the team Connecticut. If you're going to play in New York, play in New York. If you want to sneak it into Jersey, New York, New Jersey. You know, you have to play the New York market. You can't just play at the far end of the New York market. I don't know if Bridgeport is a Boston area or New York area, but you know, for TV and radio. But I know when I'm up there, I don't feel like I'm back home. But yeah, that's ridiculous. If I'm living in New Jersey, where I grew up in Colonia, and I want to see women's hockey, oh, they're playing at the Meadowlands. They're playing in Manhattan. They're playing on the island. You know, you can start making debates. You say Bridgeport, you're like, get out of here. What the heck are you talking about? Yeah.
Dan, as a great ally of women's hockey through the years, what are your thoughts?
I don't even really know what to say at this point. I've been trying to show this. There it is. I've been trying to show this jersey for a while, just so everybody can see.
I like the colors for New York.
Kind of like the Liberty's colors.
Yeah, Minnesota has
all fine.
Some of them are nice colors.
But this kind of ties you in now. Like if you're the Boston team in green, you're gonna end up being the Shamrocks, you know, or something like that.
I was real excited when it was going to be Billie Jean King and this conglomerate taking this league. And of course, I made the silly assumption. I'm like, oh, great. Well, then they're just going to take that's here and make it better. That's great. I can't wait to. Oops. None of that's worked out.
Every employee of the PHF was told, you will not have a job in the new league.
Like what?
Clearly, the designers were part of that group.
I mean,
like,
you're not wrong, dude.
I'm
it's
not
terrible.
I mean, I'm not as much of a Jersey guy as you are, Dan, but that group screams stock. Like it's what I would expect to see that in a house league, youth hockey league.
Yeah, a junior league, like an American junior league or something like that.
And each one on their own isn't awful. I mean, they're not spectacular, but each one on their own is not awful. But when you
they're
put the whole
fine,
package
but
together,
when
and
you
say like they're all the same,
I was gonna say when you kill a league that, and I'll say for better or for worse, because there is other stuff going on that I'm not aware of. You know, for better or for worse, there was an identity with all of those teams.
Built-in fan bases.
And there was built-in fan bases already, which you've now alienated.
Yeah. How can the Minnesota team not be the Whitecaps? They predated the PHF by 20 years.
But you built up all of this goodwill with all of the streaming and all of the social media and everything that went into on Twitch and jumping to ESPN Plus, all of this, again, for better or for worse, you've alienated all of those people now. There's not a lot of them that are going to come back because you took something that they loved and you kind of castrated it. Or gave it a hysterectomy. Keep it with the ladies.
And I understand that. You know what? This league was kind of done on the quick. It takes time to develop brands and get patents and
you had the brands there though.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. They took it and destroyed it just because it wasn't theirs.
Oh my God. It almost seems like it was out of spite.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But just wait, because the narrative, if it fails, the narrative is going to be, oh, it's just another slight, you know, it's just like women's hockey is slighted again. And I really feel like that this group has done it to themselves. This group of Olympic hockey players, they're self-selected ownership groups or whatever, you know,
never take the side of Ty Doby.
They've done this to themselves.
They have.
And it's going to be a shame because once this league starts playing, it's going to be awesome. But can they overcome these self-inflicted wounds?
Listen, I'll be watching. I'm going to still give it a chance, but if that didn't just take the wind out of my sails for this league. I gave them every benefit of the doubt, just based on the fact Billie Jean King is awesome.
Didn't you say that they're gonna kick off with a 3-on-3 tournament or something like that?
Yes, at the All-Star game, they're going to be a 3-on-3 PWHL showcase.
Well, that'll be exciting because it's 3-on-3 hockey.
Ties into Dave's earlier. I can't think of the word. Grievance.
You had a built-in fan base that pander to me. Be Bryce Harper, pander to me. I don't care if you're genuine. Don't let me know you're not genuine. Just tell me what I want to hear. And they've done everything but. And I have a feeling it's going to kill this league and it's never going to go.
And then, what does that do to women's professional hockey?
Well,
they're
doing this thing where, they're going to represent your city and your hometown blandly. Like they're not. Here's my problem. Who's buying that? Who's going to buy those? Who's going to spend $250, $300 on that?
Especially if you know it's going to get rebranded in year 2 when the teams get nicknames and everything. Unless you're a huge fan of, say, Alex Carpenter, and you really want an Alex Carpenter jersey.
Listen, if you like, if you like word marks that are horizontal or diagonal.
We used to have up here. We used to have old timers hockey on Sunday afternoons, 6 teams. They were all original 6 cities: Toronto, Montreal, Chicago, Detroit, and they were. Like, this reminds me of old timers hockey. It was on CHCH Sunday afternoon. They all had the same, like, stock colored jerseys. They all had the same logos, except, the Chicago one had a little Chicago script in it, and the Toronto one had a little Toronto script in it. And it was clearly just, for a whole lot of nothing, right? Like, just something to put on a Sunday afternoon. But yeah, I don't know. It for a league that's supposed to be professional, and that's the big thing, that finally we have a professional league.
And it's pretty bush league to me.
We're all now like professional athletes, and we all don't have to get jobs. It's not like there are any other leagues out there that have that scenario, right? If this whole thing flops in a year or two, you're all going to have to go out and get jobs anyway. I mean, God, for their sake, I hope it doesn't, I guess, but I don't have a warm fuzzy about it. And I wasn't invested at all in the old one like you guys were.
Good rant.
That was good.
All right. If anybody wants to take over, Dan, we got any grievances aired in the chat room?
No.
Dan,
not one that I can not one I can mention.
Whoa, all right. Then we'll just move on. Anybody else got something else you want to bring in?
I got one. It's a
you
two-parter.
Guys see, I had some, but you guys have all touched on it. You touched on the gambling, you touched on the sponsorship, touched on the prices. So I'm
don't
good,
touch
man.
me.
This one's totally away from hockey. Mostly away from hockey. My unthankfuls are NIL and the transfer portal. Now, I'm not going to debate whether or not college players should get paid. I mean, I was in the camp where felt that they were getting paid. They just didn't like what they were getting paid, right?
Or we didn't hear about it.
No, I mean...
Oh, you mean the scholarship? You're going way old school. Oh, they're getting paid. They're getting an education.
Yeah. I know what I paid for my education, and I didn't go to, like, Michigan or some big high-priced, I know what my contemporaries are paying in student loan repayments right now. So... Anyway, but that's beside the point. So I'm not going to debate whether or not they should get money or they shouldn't get money. But what it has created is a college system with no continuity. You have basically players on 300 teams or whatever who are always free agents. And there's this feeling of, like, they're mercenaries or whatever. Like, you look at Colorado, right? So, Deion Sanders walks in and says to every player that, all the current players for Colorado are there. And he says, go hit the transfer portal, right? Because he's going to bring in everybody. And I don't know, as a sports fan, as someone who follows a team, you need that continuity. I'm not going to follow Hunter Dickinson to Kansas because he thinks the NIL deal is better in Kansas. And can we call a spade here? This is not really NIL. These guys are not getting millions of dollars for NIL. Name, image, likeness, right? Like, they're doing commercials. Maybe a couple, but essentially they're getting paid to play, right? Am I the only one who's thinking this? But as a fan, I just feel that there's no continuity.
I have a response. You're not going to like it.
I have no idea who's going to be on the team next week or the week after. If you compare it to professional leagues, right? Like, we don't have that in professional leagues because they actually have contracts which state that they have to be in a certain location for a certain number of years and whatnot. this free agent, this universal free agency all the time is just going to drive prices up as well. I think. I don't know.
The idea, I'm sorry, Dave, ahead of time. The idea that anybody should be putting their body on the line physically and not get paid at any professional, well, any collegiate or professional age, is a joke to me personally. I don't really care what the previous generation paid for their schooling. We're all getting hosed, and we shouldn't be getting hosed. On a basic level, we should all be getting paid more, and we're simply not demanding it enough. We're letting the world leaders work us instead of them working for us. With that being said,
thanks, Carl.
I don't know how to. You're welcome. I don't know how the NIL thing is going to work, but I do know that, it's kind of like American healthcare, man. It's not perfect. It's not great, but it's better than nothing. And unless you have a solution, I don't want to hear you bitch about it. Not you, Dave. I mean, in general, but you, Dave. No. But I don't think it should be allowed that even if that's what you were gifted this ability and you're like, this is what I want to do. That doesn't mean you shouldn't get compensated for it somehow. You should be paid to play.
Well, then,
that's just my opinion.
My counter to that, just to be argumentative,
mute him quick,
is go play in a league where you get paid. In basketball, especially, it's like if you don't want to go to school and take a scholarship to go to school, then go play in the G League.
That's a cop out. Why can't we make the systems that we like better? In general, not you. Again, not you. Whatever league we're talking about, the collegiate leagues, am I using that word right? The college leagues, the university leagues, National Hockey League, which you talked about earlier. Well, if you don't like it, do something else. Well, how come I can't just ask this to be better, or come up with a solution to try to make it better, instead of just, well, since this sucks so bad,
then it becomes better for because there's always, like, to say better is better for who?
For the athletes and the players, people that actually do the thing. I don't really give a I don't give a shit if old folks don't like that there's no fighting in hockey anymore. I don't care. Hold on, Dave. I want to hear your counterpoint. I didn't mean to talk over you. It just occurred to me. I did that. Sorry. I was on a roll. I don't care that. I'll put it like this. When you said that's going to drive the prices up, shouldn't have to. There's a lot of money that are not going to players that you could afford to share a little bit. Sorry, Dave, say what you're going to say. I didn't mean to.
Well, the monetary value, right? And like I said, I'm not totally against college kids, getting some money.
Oh, I think you are, Dave. No, just kidding.
But this free agency, let's not forget that some of these athletic programs, and when I say athletic programs, I'm talking about the entirety of the athletic program,
right,
are being funded by the revenue generating programs. So, we have a few writers who have decided that they want to go and cover field hockey and soccer and whatnot. That's great. But you know what? Like, their contributions to those sports barely skim the surface of what that expense is, right? And the expense of the player, and look at, like, what we were just talking about, $16 a beer or whatever. Why is it $16 a beer? Well, part of it is because we got to pay, like, Alex Rodriguez $250 million or whatever. We got to get ready.
But
like
Yeah, it's also like
they
that for the concert too. But
but
yeah,
they
you're right.
have that money. They have that money.
what we
Well,
haven't
if you're talking about
found yet.
let me rephrase. If you're talking about the Yankees or like they have the money.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. McDonald's. You could pay a living wage and not raise the prices of a $2 cheeseburger.
Well,
They have the
it's a
money.
bigger economic issue here because
I'm not
companies
talking
that's what I
are
was-
all raising prices, but they're
That's what
also
I was-
all making record profits. They're not
Yeah, that's
raising
what
it
I-
because the price are going up. They're
yeah,
raising it
that's-
to make more money.
Well, that's my point.
I know. I'm agreeing with you, Dan.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'll yell at Dave. Shut up, Dave. No, go ahead. I am unable. Sometimes my my brain does not function. I don't know if you know this, but no.
I did know that sometimes your brain does not function.
Just function. Yeah. No. I'm not
You
able
walked right
to.
into that one.
No, I literally said that.
Open door.
Open door, walk into it with face. I am legitimately sometimes I'm starting to recognize this at 40 years old, so I caught it early. I'm not able to articulate properly what I want, which is mostly why I don't comment as much as I used to on Facebook and Twitter, as much as I used to. Some of them deserve the short, smart ass answers.
Some people are just better arguers than others.
I have a friend that will not argue, that will not tweet because he's like, well, Dan's gonna see it. I don't feel like I can't argue with him. Oh, correct. I get that from my mom. I'm unable to articulate how I'm trying to say this point because I'm literally unable to monosyllabically explain it, but I could use that word. Across the board, so I'll just end it like this, and Dave, you can follow it up since I'll give you the benefit of the doubt that you're smarter than me on this subject. And that was not sarcastically. I meant that genuinely. Piggyback off of what Paul said. In the world in general, there is an economic crisis of record profits and none of us little folk getting it back. And I'm not talking about the major leagues, but like we are arguing the wrong point of why. We just should, because the money's there. It's just going into one pocket or one joint pocket. You can't argue against that in that way.
I'm gonna end around and saying, well, I wasn't arguing that players shouldn't get paid.
I know that.
My point is
debating, not arguing. I used the wrong word. Or debating.
No, it's fine. My point is that the way the system is now, as a fan to follow a team, there's no continuity. So you have guys who are hitting the transfer portal every year and moving in and out. To me, the worst thing for college football, for example, is that it's the same 4 or 5 teams every year. College basketball, the same thing. You know, like the best part of college basketball is the first weekend, and I don't want to see, you know, I watched the first weekend, great, and it's going to be like Duke and North Carolina and Kansas at the end anyway, right?
Yeah.
This system goes to help those teams. You know, when like look at Texas A&M. Texas A&M can fire their coach and owe him $70 million, or SMU can raise like $200 million so that they can move to a different conference and not you know, get TV money or whatever. Like the money's there, whatever. And like I said, I don't begrudge players making money. Honestly, they were making money before. They weren't.
But isn't
supposed
that
to be making money? But they were.
Isn't that on the system then to perhaps allocate not so blatantly to the same folks?
Sure, but this The transfer portal and NIL does not help, does not change that system. It does not make things even or create more parity. It doesn't. I don't think anyway. It's now they don't have to recruit out on the road. They can, hey, come to Alabama because we're Alabama and whatever. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's deep, it's complex. And if it was
pissing you off,
if it was broken before, it's no less broken now.
No, we don't do enough evolving. We do too many duct tapes.
And Mark's like, I don't watch college stuff anyway, so who cares?
Sure, I've seen him. He's lying.
all right, that's another good grievance. Geez, we're coming up on an hour. Mark, do you
You
have
know what?
anything
Your
else?
mother.
What about my mother?
Oh, she's a very nice lady.
She is.
Yeah.
Did make a colossal mistake in raising me, but that's all right.
Well, nobody's perfect.
Exactly. Except me.
You stole my line.
Mark, you got anything else?
I had something. I kind of forgot about it. I think it's kind of in the
Can't
lines
imagine
of
why.
just pricing. Just back in the day, it was a little different. But I'm sure somebody who's 20 years old is going to complain about the prices 30 years from now.
You spent how much money on a jersey that said the word Jersey across it?
Yeah, that was a Christmas gift. Yeah, that was
Oh,
my
All
first.
right.
I got an email
Okay.
from the Devils the other day. If I would have bought a ticket package, they would have given me a winter hat that said winter hat on it.
Yeah, at least you're having fun with it. I know what it was. I think what problem I'm having now is I'm okay with cashless stadiums, but I went to a Houston. Was it an Astros game? No, it was a Sugarland Space Cowboys game. You had to buy your tickets through the phone. There was no box office open to get a ticket. You didn't have that paper ticket with you, which I'm okay not to have that. But let's say it's a group of like 8 people and a group of 5, and everybody's got to buy the ticket all at once now so you can sit together instead of just going to the box office and trying to get the tickets and paying individually. I thought that was kind of weird. I understand maybe, hey, we're a cashless, stadium now, everything's on a card. Or if you have cash, put it on a card and you can use it that way. But, not to have a box office, not to have to go through this whole hassle of downloading an app, putting in your credit card. I'm thinking about people of a certain age, like my uncle was still alive back then. He would have went home. He would have said, "Oh, screw this, I'm going home." And that was it. He wasn't. He didn't have a smartphone on him.
This whole system is very ageist.
Yeah.
Right. The youngest and the oldest and even more so, it's elitist. So not only are you paying whatever for your ticket, but you also have to pay for a phone and a phone plan. And
well, I mean, let's say you get your phone's at like 5%. You're not even thinking. There's no other way to get that ticket through, but then maybe through your phone. Just have the box office open. What's the big deal?
They have to pay people for that.
Yeah, that involves paying an employee.
Well,
minimum
I
wage.
mean, you're paying somebody to bother you about scanning your ticket in, but I guess that's easier.
Last March, I had bought, when I went to see the Flyers, I had bought a ticket on StubHub, and the person whose season tickets those were did not pay their bill, so their tickets were clawed back. So when I tried to get in, it went. First time I've ever had that happen. Jeez. So of course you got to go through the pain of contacting StubHub, dealing with all that, whatever. Now it all worked out because I got a better seat for less money at the box office and a paper ticket. I think I got it right here. At a paper ticket.
Remember when I went to when we went to the Wings game and I walked over to the box office, I wasn't there anymore and I had no idea.
Yeah, Dad was convinced that the box office was
still
in the old
there.
place. I was like, no, it's not. No,
I'm like, what do you mean they didn't move the?
What?
That's not what I said. I said they didn't move the box office. That wasn't on the list. It's sure as hell. It's gone. Oh, well. Right then. And I was like, well, I'm not even going to look for it because now I don't know where it is. Did you hear what else happened with that whole thing?
No.
The remodel, the remodel outside, when the arena was first built, part of the donations they made to pay for it was you bought a brick with your name on it or whatever you bought and put it outside. They removed them and nobody knows where they are.
In a dumpster somewhere.
And nobody got told. So somebody put hundreds, if not more, dollars to get a brick outside of what it was called the Core State Center at the time.
Oh yeah.
For the life, for forever. And 'tis gone now.
Oh,
That sounds like
A
a
Philly fan.
lawyer's dream.
Yeah.
Action.
Preston of Preston Steve did something when that new arena opened. When the arena opened, it was new. He did something that called the Y100 Squatathon.
Y100.
Which, yeah, I was gonna say, Y100 because it was which meant he sat in every single seat in the arena, up and down.
oh
up and down.
man.
He said the little side note was is the most painful he's ever been is in his wrist because you push off. And he said by the end of it, his wrists were so painful. Well, they gave him a brick, and that brick is gone. That's the only reason why he brought it up. It's like, because I had a brick for the squatathon. That's gone. So I'm unthankful for Comcast.
Pretty sleazy thing to do.
It took him almost an hour to be unthankful for Comcast.
I've been unthankful for years.
Oh.
Still bought their friggin'
So
jerseys.
I got one directed at our Stadium Journey writers, and I thought of this, Mark, when you mentioned price again.
Mm-hmm.
There is no way that any of our major league sports in return of investment should get more than a 3. Who are these people giving Yankee Stadium a 5 on return of investment? Come on.
Who's giving
Or
Yankee
the
Stadium
NFL.
a 5?
Cool.
Yeah. No, I'm just using Yankees.
Yeah. Well,
Dave Hansen, I'm not singling you out. I don't know what you gave Yankee Stadium for value.
Do you know what the average fan cost index is? Like the league average for the NFL? It's like
$200.
$560 American.
And for those of you who haven't heard of the fan cost index, that's the price for four tickets, like 2 beers, 2 sodas, 4 hot dogs, a program, couple of hats, and parking.
Yeah, something like that.
An average ticket price, not even expensive tickets or cheap tickets. Average ticket price, $500 to bring you and your 2 kids. It's crazy.
Oh, I hope I'm sterile. I don't want children.
Well, that could be the case for the chowder heads, right?
Yeah.
It's the new New England chowder heads.
Yeah.
I have agreements with that. I'm going to have to say chowder heads for 54 games.
I'm just glad I get to
summer.
say water dogs.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the PLL does with their schedule because they said they're gonna still they got home cities, but they're still gonna travel.
Philadelphia had to grandfather in a championship.
Well, all righty, guys. I thought this was kind of fun. I hope it didn't come off, listeners, as old men shaking at clouds.
I hope it did.
Shaking their fists at clouds.
Knowing the listeners we have, they'll relate.
There you go. So thanks everyone for listening. Dan, if our listeners have an inclination to follow you online, where can they find you?
Well, first of all, before I do that, did anybody see my cheesesteak post the other day?
Yes, you found the ultimate cheesesteak.
Yeah, and it's in random ass Front Royal, Virginia. At a place called Spelunkers. I could say that because I don't live anywhere near it. But I will drive that far for that cheesesteak. And you go, yeah. Actually, Philly, you gotta step up your game. Better than the Rexy's one, yes. Danlo 83 for all these hot takes. And you can direct all your complaints to that brick wall over there.
Mark, where could our listeners follow you? And you got any stadium journeys planned before we all get together again in 2 weeks?
2 weeks. It's a good question. What the heck am I doing?
Gonna have a
I don't think I have
$16
anything
beer.
going on. Maybe some high school basketball, but yeah, I just got back from couple arenas up in Canada, so I think I'm good for a little while. I have to submit those articles, and I have to submit some other ones that I'm behind. Follow me at Ballpark Hunter, and that will be on Twitter, it'll be on Twitch, it'll be on YouTube. Check out my videos, my shorts. There's always something to enjoy.
Awesome. Dave, where can our listeners follow you? And you got any travels planned?
Tomorrow it's the Toronto Maple Leafs. In the press box for that, and thankful for that. And then the following week it is the annual Teddy Bear game at Kitchener Rangers, which is always a good time. Not record holders anymore of said teddy bears, but you know,
damn Hershey Bears.
We're in the tens of thousands of bears, so that's pretty.
So tired of hearing about.
It's pretty crazy. But you can follow that Instagram, that YouTube thing, Threads, whatever.
At YouTube,
Twitter X Twitter.
Oh yeah, I ain't calling it X.
Does anybody call it X?
I read a lot of articles. Oh, Twitter, formerly known as X, or formerly known as Twitter. Like, oh, guys, be quiet.
I'll stop dead naming Twitter when he stops dead naming trans people.
Quid
pro quo.
Yeah, for me, you can follow my Stadium Journeys on Twitter and Instagram and Threads too. I don't post there as much as I maybe on the other ones, but I'm there at Puckman RI. What do I got going on? It's the semester is winding down, so it means I'm still pretty busy with PAing at Brown and at Providence College and at UMass Dartmouth. Lots of games coming up next couple of weeks. But my big one, December 9th, a bucket list item getting crossed off the bucket list. The Army-Navy game at Gillette Stadium on December 9th. I will be there for Stadium Journey in the press box. So yeah, Dave, I'm very thankful.
Oh, you know what? December 9th, they are playing an exhibition game in Danville, Illinois. They want to get back the Federal Hockey League. So free tickets.
God.
Oh, the Federal League.
I may do that. I may do that.
Danville's
a lot of people
had...
like the Federal Hockey League there. They hated whatever the Southern Professional Hockey League team that showed up. So I have a friend and her family out there. And when I first came to Indiana State, she took me to a Danville Wings game, which was junior hockey. And I'm like, they have hockey in this town? I was shocked.
So there you go. December 9th, you can either go to Danville hockey or you can go to the Army-Navy game.
Yes. Tough choice.
Puckman, all right. And remember, you can find all of our 2,500 stadium reviews, news items, and other featured stories on our website, stadiumjourney.com. Connect with us on all of our social media channels at Stadium Journey. You can find audio versions of the Stadium Journey podcast by searching HIAC Talk Radio Network wherever you look for your favorite podcasts. And you can find video simulcasts of Stadium Journey's podcast on the Stadium Journey YouTube page. Hey, that makes sense, doesn't it? And join us every other Monday night at 7 Eastern for live streams of the podcast at danlaw.tv. We're going to be back in 2 weeks. That puts us in December. It's already December 11th, when we'll have our annual year-in review episode, and that's one of my favorites. I hope you guys enjoy it too. So we'll be talking about our favorite city we visited this year, the best game we went to this year, best venue we visited, and the biggest surprise that we discovered this year. Those are our categories, correct, Dave? Dave usually knows this stuff. All right, so that's December 11th, 2 weeks from now. As always, thanks everyone for your support. For Dan, for Mark, and for Dave, this is Paul, wishing you all safe journeys and close games. Hope to see you on the road again real soon. Be safe out there.